Good evening. We're back on the Blue Ridge. For better or worse, I promised you I'd be back. We took those bowls to town and mailed them off, and I've been saying for the last few days I was going to give you a little heads up on how this turns from a log to a block of wood to hopefully somebody's bowl. This piece of wood right here, a piece of cherry, blowed down in that big storm we had a couple of years ago. Neighbor lives down there above my mama's. It blowed down on him. I've been working it up by hand. I'd rather use a sawmill, but I couldn't get the logs out and get them to the sawmill, so I'm doing it the way I started it out, and I've done more of them like that than have anything else, working them up by hand. So I got a couple of these blocks the other day. This is going to be a pretty good sized bowl. I've got the other piece over there. It's 22 inches. I'm not going to do the sawing on this one now because y'all got better things to do than watch me run a chainsaw. But if you'll look right here, that crack, there's a crack right there's your heart crack right down the center of it, which is good. It don't always happen like that, but when it does, it's that much better. I'll take that block of wood, roll it around, put me a wedge on each side. Your crack will be up and down like that. I'll take a chainsaw, hit the bottom of it. That gives you a start for where you want your bottom to be, and then take a saw as straight as you can. Hopefully split that heart right down the middle all the way through, and that'll give you two pieces. Now, there's 3 or 4 ways to get them good and flat. The flatter the better. Once you get them flat, a lot of your battle's already won. If you have access to a big planer, so much the better. Something where you can put it through and get your bottom and your top good and flat. If you don't, you use like a block plane, a scrub plane. Just whatever method you can find to get it as flat as possible, and you're that much better off with it. And once you get it flat, like I said, this is going to be a big bowl. Once you get it flat, now I'll do one in a few days because I've got a couple of orders I have got to fill. And by the way, while I'm on that subject, I used to do a lot of special orders, and then I kind of got away from them because I just didn't have the time, the limited amount of time, and I didn't want to make people a lot of promises I couldn't keep. But I have got to where I'm getting back to doing a few custom orders, something within reason. If I've got the wood, I'm happy to do them. So keep that in mind. As far as this right here, now this is going to be that bark is going to come off of it because it's been laying there a long time. I went ahead and took a hatchet and knocked that off of it, both sides. And that's just going to be like a live edge. Take your pencil and your tape. I went ahead and speeded it up a little bit. That was 13 inches, which would give you roughly 6.5 inches there. Put your little mark there. That was 12.5 up there on that end. That would give you 6.25. Put your spot there. I wished I had all the bowls in the wood over the years that I've marked off with this square right here. I'd be in pretty good shape. Line it up on you. Put your center line down the middle. And this is my little short square. That's where this flat part comes out right there. Put your little mark down there, and that gives you a center for the bottom. Do the same thing on that end. Flip it over. Now, I'm not saying this is the best way or this is the only way. This is the way I do them, and I've been doing it for several years, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, and it's worked for me all this time, so this is just the way I do it. Your mark would be right there, your little mark would be right there. Put that same square on there, mark that. And then you've got your ends. this kind of comes with practice, experience, and you don't want them too far in because you lose a lot of your bowl and a lot of your wood. You don't want them too far out because you've got this big, what I call a jaw or a big hump somewhere in the middle, and you can control a certain amount of it when you chop the end of it out. But on an average bowl like that, a regular dough bowl, I usually put it about 3 inches in. Do that on each end. And I've had this compass as long as I've had the square, and I wish I had everything I've ever marked off this compass, and it's still a going. Now the way to do that, put it there, get your edge right there like that, and just come over there like that. Do that both ways. You'll have to readjust because these live edges, no way that's going to be the same as that. It'll be off a little one way or another. See that? That one looks pretty good. That one's not too far off there, but it's far enough off. And then flip it back over. Do the same thing right here. You've got your edge right there. You've got to put it right there on that edge. And like I said, this compass has been with me through a lot of stuff. See, you just do it like that. And that one there, it comes around there pretty good. That one's pretty close on that end. Flip it around. Best I remember when I done this one's off a little. That one is. And that one there runs off just a little bit, but it's pretty close really. And that's how to do your outside edge. If I was actually, where did my Sharpie go? Where did my Sharpie go? There's my Sharpie. Here in a few days I'll do one when I get that big maple log sawed. I've got to do, like I said, a couple orders anyhow, real uniform sizes and shapes and everything, and I'll show you how I do them. But for these live edge, all I do is take my finger, use it for a gauge, put that Sharpie there, and I'm not left-handed, but this right there, come down that, and that gives you your sides. Then come back in here. I measure about 3/8 of an inch, somewhere in the neighborhood. Put a little mark there, a little mark there. Do that, come around, same thing on that side, and then we're not going to do this today because like I said, y'all got better things to do than watch me run a chainsaw. But the next part, I'll take a chainsaw and saw that right there as close as I can get it, both ends over here. Knock a little bit of that off right there. All that does is get rid of some of your waste material so it's easier chopping. Some people say don't use a chainsaw. I don't have any. I quit having anything to prove a long time ago. If I can get rid of a little wood, I'll do it. I don't have to chop it all the way. I've done enough of them and still do. Take a saw you a couple, and be real careful. I've been running a chainsaw. I was a professional logger for 40 years, so I've run a lot of chainsaws and started when I was a kid. Don't saw too deep, but get you a couple of lines here, saw you some lines through it both ways, and start chopping. I'm not going to do it this evening. I'm going to put this back in a bag for the evening because I got something else I want to work on. But I'll saw this out in a day or so and do some chopping on it, and you can see how I come along on it, and we'll take it from there. So have a good evening. I appreciate it.